the ritual never varies. The signals between the pilot, plane captain, and ground crew are part of a well-choreographed ballet that emphasizes safety. Red October is more than just training for pilots. Nearly the entire squadron goes to Laga. 150 ground crew, maintenance staff, and support personnel. They practice the takeoff and landing procedures and perform maintenance and support under real-world conditions. While executing the basic fighter maneuvers called BFMs, the pilots communicate with each other and the ground controllers by radio, using words such as crank, notch, flow, and flank. Top secret codes for specific offensive and defensive maneuvers.
Pitbull ×2, kudos notch right, reference 150. Copy, Kuda 22 is engaged, left-hand turn, offensive, with an F4. Copy, visual, I'm at your right 3, a little high. Visual. Copy, 22 is low.
Just as few pilots have ever flown with a MiG, few civilians have ever heard these tactical calls. Red October affords many prized opportunities.
Shark 2, wind 230 degrees at 9 knots. You're clear to land runway 28 in sequence. Cold lane right side, and if possible, expedite vacating traffic behind.
On this flight, Lieutenant Dave Koss, call sign Mongo, an instructor pilot with VFA 106.
I waited my whole life to do that, and I'm a little sad it's over. I'm always studying the capabilities of the airplane, and I got to see it, and it was eye-watering. It was amazing.
Who won?
1 for 1. He got the first one, I got the second one. So, at least I learned something.
So you're starting out 060 heading.
At the debrief, Mongo meets with Major Fred Schmidt, his MiG adversary pilot. Also in attendance, Lieutenant Spank O'Hanlon, a VFC-12 adversary pilot who got a backseat ride in the MiG on this flight. Today, Mongo and Fred had 2 engagements against each other. The debrief covers every detail of both flights, from their departure plan to the tactics used to the actual BFM. Breaking down the first engagement, Fred illustrates what happened. The red arrows are the actions of the Hornet. The MiG is in blue. They mark the headings, the missile shots, the nose direction of the jets, even the velocity and relative energy packages of the engines. The first engagement ended with Mongo crashing into the hard deck, the simulated ground.
You're going through the floor. Tough luck. So the second setup.
Now Fred outlines the second engagement. The 2-seat MiG is slower and less maneuverable than the single-seat model. This limited the extreme high G turns that Fred would normally have used. Mongo was able to force him through the hard deck, defeating the MiG.
Did.
Yes.
So on this one, actually, after the second scissor, I'm checking the floor.
Both engagements ended with the pilots breaking the hard deck, an 8,000-foot buffer between a training mistake and a very real disaster.
Around really quick and giving me a lot of problems coming around.
I didn't really realize the full extent of how dangerous it was, and it is dangerous, and I've lost quite a few of my friends. I can count at least 13 who I've lost to the business. So you have to realize there's an element of danger in it. The things I got out of it were the helmet-mounted sight and the Archer. That scares me, and I have newfound respect for it. And then, exactly like you said, a high OA, slow airspeed is my fight. And seeing with how much power you have, even at the end there, you might be able to power through that. Whereas I can maintain high alpha, I have no airspeed. You can just plug the blowers and go somewhere else. So I think that's what I learned today. You guys do have the power that we thought you did.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you. That was awesome. I had a blast.
Thanks.
U.S. military pilots are involved in at least 1 accident per week on average. Most occur during training missions. During today's sortie, one of the pilots crosses the line between simulation and reality. It's called a departure from controlled flight.
All right, terminate ballistics. Copy ballistic, I go off.
Looking through the heads-up display, the Hornet peaks at over 16,000 feet, and its airspeed drops to less than 50 miles per hour. The jet begins falling like a leaf from a tree towards the Earth, except the Hornet falls 10,000 feet.
I'm departed here. Copy. Watch your altitude, watch your altitude. I'm out of control.
To survive the departure, the pilot must relinquish control of the aircraft to the flight computers.
Watch your altitude. Yes, I'm okay. I'm recovered.
Altitude.
Copy that.
Only the pilot's training and the F-18's computer allow him to regain control, but only after crashing into the simulated ground. Fortunately, the incident occurred at Red October. The pilot will live to fly another day. Should he ever face a MiG in real air combat, he will know the risk of attempting a similar vertical maneuver.
Or we are about the only squadron in the NATO or Western world that has MiG-29s. We have them in Lage. So we're the sister squadron flying the F4s. I'm very lucky to have them there because they attract all the a lot of other squadrons that are coming over for DACT, that is dissimilar air combat training. So also we, the Phantom Squadron, the 2nd Fighter Squadron, we have a lot of benefit from that too. And for us, it's awesome training.
The Germans know their special place in the fighter pilot world and love the opportunity to demonstrate their abilities. But Red October is intended to be a training detachment for the American students. The U.S. instructors require the Germans to present specific combat scenarios, even placing restrictions on their tactics in order for the students to complete the training syllabus.
Today we were going to fly one F-18 together with me, plus 2 additional F-4s, and we're going to fly against 2 other F-18s with varying scenarios. And they have put a few handcuffs to what we are doing, but it's going to be an all-altitude and full-up war, basically.
The restrictions placed on the engagements are a necessary evil, but sometimes without warning, the Fulcrum pilots deviate from the plan and change tactics to fool the students. The Germans are proud. They are the best aggressor pilots in the West, and they want to show what they can do.
Fox 2. And Shark 1, your merchant is 2 shipping 15,000 and 21,000. 3. And MiG-1, here on 2 Phantoms right overhead on us. Mind you, both Phantoms on top of MiG-1 and 2 are dead. Copy, kill is delayed. For a move. Shark 3 or 4, one of you is dead.
You learn from every flight, and the thing is, the MiG is not the most sophisticated system, so what we learn is just how to defend versus the good weapons in the NATO stock, and how to perform the MiG to the max extent.
The next mission, a 2v4. 2 Hornets are headed for an engagement with 4 adversary aircraft. As the instructor, Mongo flies wing. The lead pilot is a Category 3 student, Lieutenant Commander Tim Carr, call sign Cowboy. Their challenge? Track and kill multiple targets at long range.
Cuda 2-1, fly ready for takeoff. Roger, Cuda 2-1, wind is 230 degrees at 8 knots, you're cleared for takeoff, report leaving. 2-1, Mongo.
Unlike a 1v1 dogfight, Today, the engagement with the enemy will begin at long distance, beyond visual range.
Clear, switching.
The view we have right now is the same formation. If you can imagine, we're flying this way right now, and the camera's right in front of us, pointing back at us. So we're looking at both of us from me more of a head-on view, him from kind of the side. And when I'm flying in formation, you can see my aircraft back in there. So that's kind of what we're looking at.
We're at about 5,000 feet. This layer is about 3,000 feet thick. And it's pretty much clear above 8,000 feet on this flight.
We can train down at those low altitudes, but we burn a lot of gas. So we like to get up on top of it, get a lot better gas mileage up there.
Now we're just accelerating. We're going to get a G-warm. That's a maneuver we do just to put some G-forces on the jet to get our bodies used to fighting under high G loads. It's required before doing any ACM. It's 2 90-degree turns, just 4 Gs in the first one, and then 6 Gs in the second one. Gives me a chance also to lock onto my wingman with my weapon system and get my weapon systems checked, because he's been able to do that on the join up. When you hear that tone, it's just I've selected my weapon system as we're getting ready to pull into this G-warm.
A rough ride on a roller coaster will reach 5 Gs for a few seconds. Anything more would cause an immediate loss of consciousness. Training and a G-suit keep the pilot safe at up to 7.5 Gs.
Yeah, the G-warm, like you said, is just to get our bodies acclimated to it. And no kidding, the more Gs you pull, the better at it you get. And also checking to make sure that our G-suit is plugged in. You can feel the pressure on your legs that it is inflating.
22,000 maneuvering. Southern group code. Fights on.
That's the standard call. We've told everybody we're set up where we are. The bandits have called set in the south. Get our tapes on call, so we're recording our radar picture and HUD picture, and call the fights on.
Scooter flight, fights on.
And start heading at them.
Picture, 2 groups, azimuth 5. Western group, Bulls, 175, 13, 17,000, flanking northeast.
He's basically just told us we've got 2 groups. Anytime somebody's more than a few miles apart, they call them a separate group. And now he's told us there's 2 of them.
And I've just picked up this near group that's on my radar. I've asked GCI to declare that group, whether they're friendlies, hostile, or unknown, which would be bogeys. And they declared them hostile. I was kind of expecting bogeys. So I'm going to ask for another declaration here just to make sure they're the bad guys. We've already targeted into this group.
×2.
You have a
We're taking shots into this near group.
different mindset. When you get a bogey call, you can't shoot those guys. When you get a bandit call, you can shoot them. So if they call them bogey, we have a totally different mindset going in. We're not shooting long-range missiles. Whereas if they call them bandit, we're shooting long-range. Again, bogey, you can't shoot them until you visually ID'd that they are a bad guy.
High range 12, green vector north.
Pitbull ×2, kudos notch right, reference 150.
This, we've supported our missiles for a while here. Now we're doing some defensive maneuvering. We're looking good here.
Very good. Very good.
We're both upside down, pulling about 5 Gs, going real nose low, getting into the notch. The warble and tone you hear means that they have targeted a missile into us, but this should, hopefully, our defensive tactics are going to work, and we'll be able to come back in off of this.